gonna start you guys, now I'm gonna start the computer. Hello, and thank you for stopping by with the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak. Today, you know how I always do the date. I have no idea why I do the date. For some reason, I think people go back and they'll go, hey, I listened to your blah, 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 date, address, podcast, and you talked about this. I guess that way maybe I could research it and find it and kind of, go back and study it and go, oh, yeah, I remember what you're talking about now. Because if they just do some random topic, I'll be like, yeah, I probably talk about that in every episode. Today is actually Saturday, the 29th of September, 2018. Sorry if I have a little bit of a raspiness in my voice. I got a little bit of a cold. I think I talked about that in the last episode. Kind of got a little bit of a cold, and I'm fighting it, and it's kicking my tail a little bit. I got sick in reverse order. I got a bit of a sore throat, and then it turned into a sinus thing, and now I'm taking a bunch of generic Mucinex stuff that you get at Walmart, and the big 1,200 milligram pill, like the horse size pill. This thing is, I think it's something else. But I would like to talk a little bit about some stuff today. First off, I am using my new Gorilla Grill, Grilla grill. If you have a chance to check them out on YouTube or on social media of any way, spell it like grill, G-R-I-L, then add an A on the end. Gorilla Grill, and look at their silverback. I am smoking on one of those right now. I got a pork butt on there. I woke up this morning. My wife had the alarm set so she could go to the gym. I got up and took that pork butt out of the original wrapper. They pack it in plastic or whatever. I took it out of the original wrapper and I dried it off. I've always heard that you should dry your meat before you season it. That way you get all that excess water and whatever off of it. I rinsed it, dried it off, coated it in olive oil, rubbed it into all the little crevices I could find, cleaned off my hands a little bit, and then used a couple of seasonings. My buddy Greg had bought me this Leinenkugel Summer Shandy Trigger brand lemon zest rub. It's a really good rub. I haven't had the opportunity to use it on a lot of things, but I found lately that my wife really likes it on salmon. She's not a lemon fan, and I've tried to use it on other things, and she's like, I don't like this. But I put it on the fish, and she's like, oh, this is delightful. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So, because fish is supposed to, you normally have fish with some kind of, citrusy kind of stuff. If you order at the store, at the restaurant, a lot of times they'll bring you lemons. And I think the reason for that is some people squeeze the lemon on their fish to kind of take the fishy taste out of it. It's weird that people order fish and then say they don't want the fishy taste. But anyway, another reason is because a lot of times you get the fish on your hand, and if you rub the lemon on it, it takes the fish smell out of there. This is called Stuff I Heard. See what I did there? You just learned something. But I used this lemon stuff on there. I also used some McCormick's brown sugar bourbon. And of course it's got sugars on it, which, caramelizes in the meat, and it has a little bit of a sweet taste to it. And this is a pretty big butt. This is a nice sized butt. Now, this is called Stuff I Heard, so let's talk about why they call it a butt. Apparently years ago, it's not actually the butt of the pig. It's called the butt because it was stored in a ship in an area called the butt. There's a portion of the ship called the butt of the ship, and whenever they would cut up the pig and cure it with salt, they would store it in the butt. So they would call it pork butt. It's just bulk pork meat. And I want to say it comes from the shoulder area as well. I don't know what separates something being called a shoulder or a butt. I'm sure out there's some meatologist, some meat head, some meat butcher guy who's like, you idiot, it is the butt. Okay, so write me and tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me why. That way I can inform you guys, because this is half-truths that we're telling here. This is stuff that I've learned, so I'm passing it along just as I've heard it. Think of this as information that you hear before the internet. How about that, huh? Speaking of which, the internet is ever looming. I got on the internet last night, and a friend of mine's wife, I'm guessing, is starting up a business because she hashtagged it with Startup Life. Okay? She put a quote online. It says, your work is going to fill up a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. Supposedly that was an inspirational quote by Steve Jobs. Now, I've heard this before. I've heard something like it before. And I went online and I was like, okay, I asked Google, I said, what is the quote, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life? And a lot of things said anonymous, a lot of things said unknown, a lot of things said old saying. And then I found it was an actual quote from Mark Twain. Mark Twain, of course, was Samuel Clemens. He used Mark Twain as his writing pseudonym. Anyway, find a job you enjoy doing, and you'll never have to work a day in your life. Now, I have some input on this. I have some thoughts on this. I think that only a few select people have that kind of luxury. I think that for the majority of us, you and me and Joe Schmo and everybody else out there who's working, we don't get to do what we love. We get to do what we have to do because it's what we have to do because we have a family to take care of, because we have responsibilities. I don't think that at any part in my life did I ever look at the job that I'm doing now and go, oh, that's what I want to do one day. But it's what I'm doing, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing, but I didn't seek it out as going, I think I would enjoy this. I think that Hollywood sells us a lot of times in the movies about, finding a job that you enjoy, oh, you must love what you do, or why do it? Well, that's great if you got that kind of luxury, if you've got parents who are just sitting around going, it's okay, baby, I got you. You just come home and sit around and think of what you want to do, because one day you'll find it. You might be 50 still living on my couch, but you'll find what you love to do. No, that's not how the real world works. The real world works where you have a job to do and you go out and you do your job to take care of the people that you love. And sometimes that's a bunch of kids, sometimes it's your wife, sometimes it's you. Sometimes you need to get off your own butt and you need to make things happen. I am not dissing the people who have that kind of luxury. Great, good for you. It may sound like I'm mocking them, and I am. But I'm not, if that makes any sense. I'm happy that some people have that kind of choice. I'm glad that there's people out there like Steve Jobs who has that kind of mentality of, hey, this is what I'm really passionate about and I'm doing this. Great. That's awesome. My mom is a good example of, she was working in the nursing field for probably 10 years, and one day she goes, I think I know what I want to be when I grow up. And I was like, what? And she's like, I think I want to be a nurse. And I was like, you are a nurse? And she was like, yeah. But I never really wanted to be. I just sort of did it because I had to have a job. And there was an opportunity where if I went to school and I made good grades, they would give me an education and I could do this job that would pay our bills, because I had to pay bills because it was just you and me. And she goes, I got lucky in the fact that I ended up loving what I do. Now that's a different angle. That's like a reverse look on things. That's like reverse engineering the whole thing. You accidentally end up doing the thing you love to do. Oh, look. I'm getting a phone call from Mr. Greg Steele. Let's see if he'll do the live thing. Gregory. And I lost him just like that. How did that happen? I had him and then he was gone. I thought that was going to be a moment on the podcast. We were going to have an actual call in. What the hey? He called me from his mobile phone. We'll stand by and just see if he calls. Anyway. So. How are you guys? How's everybody doing? I never get to talk to you guys because not many of you actually converse with me. Nobody ever gives me input and says, hey, this is what's going on in my life. Mr. Gregory.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
Hey, man, I got you on the podcast right now. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. I didn't know if you got my voicemail or not, but I was doing multiple things this morning, one of which was smoking a butt on the new smoker. And I kind of wanted to buzz your brain a little bit and ask you some questions. Have you ever slow cooked a butt on low the entire time?
So I actually have never done a Boston butt before because we don't eat a lot of pork. But with that being said, I have slow smoked a ton of briskets, beef tenderloins, some other larger pieces of meat.
Yeah?
Yeah, good stuff. You were here when we did one of the corned beefs.
Yeah, the corned beef was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the grill so far, and I'd love to show you this thing when you come next time because I think you're going to be like, holy crap, this is really nice.
Yeah, no, I know it's going to be beautiful.
I took your lead when you were showing me the things about your grill, and you were like, I would go. You were telling me at the time that you recommended the RecTech because it was made in Augusta, and it seemed to have a lot of better features for a better price, and that got me thinking. There's got to be other competitors too. So I'd been kind of researching this thing for a year when I picked out this Gorilla Grills brand, and I'm really tickled with it so far. We've used it every day of the week so far. Even Dolores is, at first I made some steaks and Dolores was like, is it supposed to be better? And I thought, woman, really? You don't know how painstakingly I've gone through this process. And yes, it's better. I don't know why you can't pick up on the subtle hint of smoke in there. And
so you did the reverse sear, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I've always cooked a good steak, with that charbroil thing. I cook an awesome steak. So, there really wasn't a lot of difference between the steaks. But since then, we've done some fish and some chicken, and she's like, "Oh, this chicken is the best chicken ever," and the fish too. And I told her, I said, "Well, wait till the weekend, and I'm going to get to cook some big meat." And she's like, "All right, that's going to be awesome," because I really think the big meat's going to be the difference.
I do too. I think on the pellet grills, I used to still do all my beef, like my steaks and my hamburgers, on charcoal, but now I've sort of learned how to do them on the Traeger, and I use that pretty much for everything now.
Yeah.
But from a steak standpoint, my opinion is just you need to have really thick steaks and reverse sear them, and you really can get a good difference. But I don't get a big difference unless the steak's probably about 2 inches, and then you really can tell a big difference.
Yeah.
Just because it stays so rare inside, and you can get such a nice sear on the outside. But with all that being said, I've always said, and I still believe, that the pellet grills really shine with the chicken and the fish because everything just stays so moist, nothing dries out. Makes a really nice turkey too for Thanksgiving. It stays moist, so it's good stuff.
Yeah, we're definitely going to try that with the turkey. I had some bacon wrap fillets this past week, and it's a thicker cut of meat also, and it really looked beautiful when I cut it open because it had that smoke line inside the meat. And then the meat on the inside was all a perfect temperature. It was solid all the way through. And as we're eating it, Dolores was like, "Did you take some photos or some video?" And I was like, "No, I forgot." As much as I'm into this kind of stuff, I totally forgot to do that kind of stuff. She's like, "You missed out." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'll do a better job."
Well, and so the other kind of questions, because, there's variabilities on things you can do with it, are what kind of wood chips that you use. I found that I do use Traeger wood chips. I was using RecTech wood chips, and actually I found that the Traeger ones actually smoke a little bit better, in my opinion. And Traeger actually makes a tri-blend, so it's a blend of 3 woods, the Championship tri-blend that I've been using. And they sell it at Costco, and it's actually a better price, but that's a really good wood chip, and I like the flavor I get off of it, but you certainly can do tests with the different flavors of chips and get different tastes. So that's kind of nice too. So. Yeah,
when I bought this grill, I got a bag of chips with it, and one bag fills that hopper up completely.
Oh yeah.
Sure. But they had a competition blend as well, and I'm really enjoying the flavor. But they're not as well known, I guess, because they're from Michigan. So it's not like they're available everywhere. If I ordered them, I'd have to order them through the website and that kind of stuff. I do have to find someone local to buy the wood chips from, the wood pellets from.
So Ace Hardware carries the Traeger chips generally. Yeah. And, those in Home Depot, there are some other brands of chips that are perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to stick with one, but you certainly can try them and mix them and blend them and, just make different flavors. It's one of the fun things about it. Just do it,
Our local Ace Hardware is Schofield's, and I noticed that they do sell the Traegers and they do have the chips there, the wood pellets there.
Yes.
The only thing bad about them, in my opinion, is that to me, they charge a little more for the things that they sell.
Right.
It's part of their markup,
Traeger stuff in general is not cheap. Previously when I was talking to you about the RecTech grills, one of the big reasons I was saying to get it was because honestly they had fixed all the problems with the Traegers. The metal was better gauge and everything, but now Traeger has released a grill that actually has all the good features and is heavier and is bigger.
Yeah.
But man, they charge a bunch of money for it, like $1,700 or something. So
yeah, and this one here, I got this one here on a Labor Day sale for like $300 off. It was like six something. And
good price. Yeah, good price.
And I was able to get like a grill cover and the shelf that comes on the front. And you know, I tried using Rectech's website, and their website is terrible. I mean, you can't get around to anything. You can't look at accessories. It doesn't show you what they look like with them on there, or even that you can purchase them. It's just a really crappy website.
That's bad.
I was trying to find their physical address because I thought, my wife's sister lives in Augusta. We could go there on a trip and visit her and go by there and look at the thing and maybe bring one home. But I couldn't find them on the website. You had to go, if you looked on Google Maps, you could find one, but I thought, okay, is that just a physical location of where they build it, or is that a showroom? And I was like, well, it kind of got me discouraged, and like I said, I just kept researching, and then I ended up buying that one. So
I recently saw at our Lowe's, I believe, or Home Depot, I'm not sure which one, but there's another one that's by a company called Pit Boss, and I saw a Pit Boss grill that actually had more cook space than mine did, and it also had a thing where on the bottom you could slide it back to where the fire pit was exposed for searing.
Oh yeah,
and I had never seen that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but that one was like $460, so some of them are getting pretty cheap for good products, you know.
Yeah, Pit Boss is one, Camp Chef is one, Green Mountain is one. There's a lot of them out there, and like I said, I just ended up on this one because of YouTube, because I kept looking at comparison videos.
Sure. And
they have a good YouTube presence, and started looking at their videos, and I was like, whoa, this is nice. Ooh, now I went to their website, and I checked out their website, and I was like, hey, there we go. That's what I want. So,
my neighbor has a Camp Chef, and not the one on, not Todd, but the one on the other side anyway. But his Camp Chef has a pretty cool feature because, on the fire pot on mine, I have to always vacuum it out. But his fire pot has you can flip the bottom aside, and the ashes just fall out, which I think is a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So, there's just a bunch of different kinds, and you just have to research, and see what interests you the most. But in my experience, from a cooking standpoint, they all do pretty much the same. So,
Yeah, I haven't looked at mine as far as cleaning it yet, and I'm not sure exactly when I'm supposed to clean it.
So the biggest thing is that the wood chips, as you burn them, they make ash in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so your fire pot has a little stick in it that's electric.
Yeah.
So basically, when you turn the grill on, wood chips fall in there, and that starter stick starts the wood chips burning and goes from there. So the only real problem that you have is that if your ash gets too thick where it covers up the fire stick, then you don't light.
Okay.
And if the ash gets too thick in there also, you won't be able, sometimes it'll go out. So what I do is just kind of keep an eye on the fire pot, and if it's getting to where the ash is halfway up the fire stick, I usually vacuum it out, and I use a shop vac. Works really good.
Yeah.
So, but you will, or if you're like me, it won't be just one time that you let the ash get too thick before you figure out you better clean it.
Yeah.
took me a couple times, but I finally figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's something I'll have to keep an eye on, and I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, but one bag of chips, man, you'll still have some left after you do that brisket, the butt for however many hours. And they burn slow, especially on low temperatures, so it's pretty economical also. So it's nice.
Yeah. Well, and I've used it every day this week, and I'm doing the butt today on low, and I'm looking forward to it. I gone out there and looked at it, and I'm like, ooh, I don't want to mess with you too much. I'm going to leave you alone. But it comes with a meat probe that comes with it that plugs into the machine, and you can push the button on the side, and it'll tell you what the temperature of the meat is.
Nice.
But I also wanted the convenience to be able to walk away from it, so I have that Bluetooth iGrill, and I synced it up with my phone this morning and walked away from it, and all I got to do is tap the app on my phone, and I can see right now it's 111 degrees, so it's smoking nicely.
Oh, yes, sir. And listen, if you want to get really stupid with it, when you want to spend too much money on the hobby because you enjoy it so much, they make a couple of other thermometers out there that instead of being Bluetooth are actually Wi-Fi. And I bought myself one for my birthday. It hooks into my Wi-Fi, and basically I can monitor it and change the temperatures and stuff from anywhere where I have internet. So I could go to Canada and monitor the stupid thing. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, you could change the temperature on your smoker?
There's a fan attachment that you can get with it, and if you put the fan on it, you actually can control the temperatures from the phone. Now, I actually don't have that part of it just because of the fact that, I don't really need that. I mean, I'm setting the temperature and leaving it on whatever temperature for however many hours, but it has two probes, one that measures the ambient temperature of the grill and one that measures the temperature of the meat. And the one I got actually has 6 possible probes. So if you were doing like 6 steaks, you could put a probe into each and, get them each the temperature you wanted for whoever liked it, however they liked it.
Cool.
But I can go to the store or go just basically wherever I want, and I can set alerts too. The thing will email you or send you text messages or send you push notifications when you reach your temperatures and stuff. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's what mine does. It has a thing where it lets me know ahead of time when it's 10 minutes till.
Yep.
So that way if you want to do something a little extra, you can jump out there and do it.
I know, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, yeah. Well, welcome, I tell you. Welcome to the world, man. You're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Join some of the Facebook groups, because there's Facebook groups out there for them, and they have a lot of recipes, and people talk about all the different things you can grill. It's where I found smoked Cheez-Its. We smoked some Cheez-Its recently, and they were really yummy. So you'll find all kinds of weird stuff up there, but so join some of that, and I think that you'll enjoy it. The really funny thing I think is I guess it's kind of a journey. I mean, sometimes you'll cook something like if this is your first Boston butt, might not turn out exactly the way you want it, and you have to kind of play with it sometimes and figure out how you like things. I mean, it took me 2 years to figure out I like to reverse sear stuff. And that didn't mean that my food wasn't always good. It just wasn't how I wanted it. But I think depending on where you live and what the temperatures are and what your personal tastes are, there's a lot of different definitions to grilling perfectly, supposedly, right?
Yeah.
It's very individualized. And there are people that come up on the Facebook groups and they're so excited about getting the grill. And then like 2 weeks later, they post, I'm getting rid of it. It just doesn't do what I want it to do, and blah, 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 blah. And, I read the post, and it's supposed to do everything perfect. Yeah, but it doesn't do everything perfect right away. You have to practice. It's sort of a journey.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun journey, but not everyone's a journeyer, right?
Well, and it's like, I had questions myself of this week of going, okay, what do I set it at? Do I set it at, like, actual temperatures? Because you have a digital thermometer telling you what to set it at. So you're like, okay, I know with a gas grill I set it at, like, low, but actually how hot is that? Because I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I've been playing with it, and I've found, like, with my chicken and my fish, I can cook it at, like, 260 or 280. And it's a nice slow cook, but it has good flavor. And if I set it at that temperature, it kind of cooks it the same way that my gas grill would cook it for the same amount of time, if that makes any sense. Because I'm kind of timing this as to, when to start the thing and when it's going to be done. Because I'm trying to time it to when Dolores gets home from the gym. Because when she gets home, I want it to be fresh right off the grill. And, oh my God, it smells great. Yeah, here we go. Let's eat,
Right.
I'm trying to optimize that window. But,
well, and it takes practice. And the other thing I'll say real quickly, because I'm going to have to go in a minute, and I appreciate you having me on so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
We can talk about grilling forever, and I'm excited you got one. But whether you have a Traeger or not, I do recommend that people go to the Traeger Facebook app or the webpage, because they have tons and tons and tons of recipes.
Yeah.
And, I've made some really good stuff. And I don't know if you've ever done what they call spatchcocking a chicken before, where you cut him and lay him flat.
No.
But go look up the recipe for that and do it. It's amazing how good it is. It's you wouldn't think. You cut the breastbone out, and instead of it being round, it lays the whole bird out flat, and it's amazing. You'd be surprised how much doing that makes it so moist and tender and cooks it even. So that's a challenge for you. Give that a shot.
Have you ever done the one with the chicken with the cannabis butt?
I have, yes. I actually have 2 of those things.
Yeah.
And it will fit on my Traeger even when it's standing upright.
Yeah.
So I do those. And what's super awesome about those, or even if you don't do them beer way, you just put a whole chicken on there, is basically, if you put it on 375, and you do an hour and 20 minutes never lifting the lid, they always come up perfect. And
Yeah.
I mean, I could put 8 of them on there, and they all come out perfect. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
We've done the ones with soda or with beer, and it's good no matter what you do. We always put some minced garlic in there too. Kind of helps with the flavoring.
Yeah, and you can put herbs, like I've done rosemary and other stuff in there. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know you got to go, man. I appreciate you calling in, and I just want to touch base with you real quick.
Yeah, hey, man, I appreciate it. And I'm listening to the podcast, and I appreciate everybody who does. I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Take care.
See you, bye.
All right. How about that? We had a little phone call from Greg. I was kind of curious if I was going to be able to talk to him. I was going to try and time this out where I could talk to him before I started, but he was busy with something this morning, and he's got something to do this afternoon. So that was kind of cool. Little segment of a phone call. People are always asking me, how can I be on the podcast, and what am I going to talk about? Who cares? Who cares? We'll figure it out, right? There's no ticket takers. There's nobody saying you can't do that, you can't do this. And if they do, who cares? We can do whatever we want. I would like to talk for a second about an old episode that I did. If anybody's listening to the audio versions of this, I did a podcast a while back with my mom at her office. I think it's episode 33. And it was a great podcast. The YouTube part of it is awesome. The YouTube part of it worked fine. But apparently I had problems recording using the iPad. I have a mini iPad that I record on there. And somehow it would not save the file as an audio file. And I lost the audio. And then when I thought that I had it and loaded it, I didn't go back and listen to it, but someone told me recently that it wasn't the correct audio file, that it was another episode from the previous week. And I was like, really? And everything I looked at looked like it was fine, but I lost the audio file. It's just a problem with, it's user error. Let's just call it user error. Josh doesn't know what he's doing and he's learning. But hey, we're only, this is what episode is this? 40? Are we at 40? Is this number 40? Get out of town. This is episode 40. Wow. Holy cow. Hey, congrats everybody. Thanks for sticking with me for 40 episodes. And if you're checking in for the first time right now, you're like, yeah, whatever, shut up, move on. 40 episodes. Dude, that's pretty awesome. But yeah, if you're listening to the audio files and you get to that one, I actually went back and re-recorded something and kind of tucked it away in there so that you could go back and you could listen to it, and I'll tell you how to find the episode. I mean, basically the episode is on YouTube, but it's just not on the audio part. So I apologize to anybody who's trying to listen to that one and can't find it. And I'm sure if there's an audio engineer out there, you could probably tell me how to rip it from the YouTube part and put it back on audio, but I don't know how to do that. I got too much going on, man. I got balls in the air. I'm juggling. It's crazy. I have a couple of things going on. I got a permit this week. It's the first time I ever got a permit to build onto my back porch. I have a project coming up with my dad. My dad lives in Maine, and he's bought some property in Georgia, and he happens to be in Georgia right now. And we've been talking back and forth about a possible project of redoing my back porch. We built this house 11 years ago, and my back porch has got a lot of rain damage. And I wanted to tear up the old boards and put in some new boards, and I thought, in the process, I would like to make this bigger, because I don't have much space on this back porch now that I have 3 grills back there and a table and chairs, and God forbid anybody should stand out here with me. We're out of space. So I want to make something bigger. I went through the process of talking to him about what needs to be done, and we kind of decided that we can do it. And Dad taught me through the process of getting a permit. Apparently it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. He told me, he said, you're probably going to have to go through the clerk of courts and through the planning committee and have something done. He said, I recommend giving them a call and asking them what you need. So I looked online, I found the office for the planning committee, for the residential planning committee, and to get permits. And I called the lady and I talked to her and I said, I've never done anything like this before. What do I need to bring? And she says, you're going to have to go to the clerk of courts and get a plat of your property. Bring that with some plans. Well, as soon as she said the word plans, my brain went into hyper-focus mode, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to hire an engineer or an architect to draw plans for a deck. Are you kidding me? That's going to require surveys. That's going to require time. That's going to require money. Oh, this is going to be exhausting. How am I going to get this done? And I called Dad freaking out, and I was like, Dad, this is what they're asking for. And he goes, oh, that's no big deal, buddy. All you got to do is draw up some plans. And I was like, yeah, but I can't afford to hire all these people just to build onto my deck. And he goes, no, you can just draw it yourself. Just draw what you want to build. He goes, I've done it before in Georgia and in Maine, and that's all you have to do. And I was like, really? Okay, well, I could draw something. So I got out some pen and paper, and I drew some stuff, or actually I drew it on pencil and paper. I drew some stuff out of what we wanted to build, and I sent a picture of it to Dad, and I said, do you think this would work? And he's like, yeah, that's all you need. So I thought, okay, on my day off, I'm going to go up to the courthouse and see if I can get a plat. Well, I don't know what a plat is. I had to Google, what is a property plat? And it showed me examples, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. So basically, a plat is like an engineering design of your property and basically where your house fits on your property. So I go up to the courthouse, to the clerk of courts. They're in the basement there, and I tell the guy I need a plat, and he comes back. I actually took a copy of our water bill because it had our names and our address on it. And I said, I need a plat for this property. And he goes, 1 second. And he goes back, and he comes back. He came back with a plat of a property that I owned before I got married. And I was like, what is that? He goes, it's a plat of your property. I said, no. I sold that property back in 2004. And he's like, really? Hang on, let me look again. What it was is he looked it up by my name, and apparently my name was still on that plat for some reason. But he went back and he found the plat for our property. And he comes back and he says, well, listen, I got a problem. I don't have a plat for your property. I have a plat for your neighborhood. And I was like, do you think that would work? He goes, I don't know. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, I guess that's all I can go with. We'll go with that and see if it works. So I was a nervous wreck. I go up to the permit office. I got this plat that's 2 pages for a property. Now, I will say the plat only cost me $1.50, which was cool. Basically, it's just a copy of whatever they have. I went up there with it, and with my hand-drawn designs, and there was a nice lady there who was very helpful. She taught me through the process of filling out the paperwork. I told her, I said, this is my first time doing this. I have no idea what I'm supposed to fill out here. And I explained to her what I was doing. She looked at all my stuff. She helped me fill out the form. Got it done. I had to draw on the plat, basically, where my house sits, what was there, and what I plan on building extra. And I did that. And that was easy. Nothing to it. That cost me $75 for the permit, which is still not bad, not considering what my brain was telling me it was going to cost. $75. Then I had to go back to the courthouse to take them copies of what she had printed out, which I guess is like receipts saying, yeah, we're okay with it, and here's this permit. I took it back to the courthouse, to the tax assessor's office, and then I had to take a copy downstairs. Once they stamped it, I had 3 copies. I had to take them downstairs back to the clerk of courts. I paid them $10 to, I guess, file it. And then that was it. I had to take a copy back to the original lady at the permit place saying, here you go, here's the copy of that. And then I kept a copy. So basically, I have a copy of my permit. They have a copy of the permit at the permit office, and the courthouse has a copy of the permit at the clerk of courts. So I'm permitted. I can build my porch now. Yay! We have a date set. It's going to be this month, and you guys are probably going to hear my dad on the podcast because he's going to be here while this is all going on, so I might as well record some stuff, right? Be sure to check out both of our YouTube pages because we're both going to have stuff going on. Look under Joshua Peak, that's myself, and my dad is R Peak. The R stands for Richard. R-P-E-E-K. And you'll see us building the porch. And you'll be like, oh my God, there they are. They're hanging out. How cool is that? So I'm sure we'll get some audio and some video and some fun stuff and some work stuff. And it'll be good. It'll be good for the soul. Plus, I'll probably be using that grill. I don't know what to call these podcasts here lately. What do I call this podcast? Grillin' with Greg? Because he's not really here, but he kind of helped me on the phone. I'll think about it. I'll come up with something. Anyway, I'm going to cut this short right here. I would like to talk about a show on Netflix. You know, I always have to give you Netflix specials. I'd like to talk about a show on Netflix. Okay, if you're a fan of like Gas Monkey Garage or the Chip Fu Show Overhauling or any of that crap, go on Netflix and watch this Restoration Garage Rust to Riches. It's really good. The premise of the show is super smart. Okay, the premise of the show is they have a garage where they fix up cars, and the guy says, "Have you ever heard the story about the guy who traded the red paperclip, and he just kept trading up till eventually he was able to trade up and get a house? He traded, didn't cost him anything. He just traded things with people, and eventually got a house." And he says, we took that concept and we do that with cars. We go get a car from the junkyard, $500,000 piece of junk. We fix it up, sell it, or we fix it up and trade it, and then trade that, fix that up and trade it until eventually we have the big payday with a big car. And the show is good. I like the show. So, check that out. You're going to enjoy it. Trust me. And that's it. I'm out of here. Peace out. Y'all be good to one another. And thanks for listening. Bye.